Are you ready for another frozen pizza review? Because today we've got one that looks very promising. Well, at Trader Joe's, and Trader Joe's has a lot of different frozen pizzas, by the way. I saw this traditional margherita pizza. I don't know why the box is already opened, but okay. Let's get that out of there. See how it's got the little round slices of fresh mozzarella? That's what a proper margherita, you know, if it's Neapolitan style, it really needs to have fresh slices of mozz, not shredded cheese. All right, so if we want to be sticklers to the rules, but let's face it, if you're trying to find that reference point of flavor, then it's got to be made in the same way usually. So that's promising that it's made right. I'll bet you this is made in Italy. Well, yeah, it says right on the box, product of Italy. So here we go with the box. It looks fantastic. This looks like a traditional Neapolitan pizza. Now, what you got to keep in mind is even though these are made in Italy, they might be making them to American taste. This may not be the way the Italians will eat them. For example, putting a pepperoni or slices of pepperoni that you and I, at least here in the States, would expect is not a thing in Italy. So when they do that and you think it tastes funny, it's because that's not how they would eat it. And I'm trying to stay, oh, what's the word? I want to honor the traditional margherita pizza, because when you've had a good one from a, you know, what would be a nice restaurant with a brick oven, wood-fired or coal-fired brick oven, it is absolutely amazing when all the ingredients are made in-house. They make the dough in-house, they use a 00 flour, they use homemade mozzarella, in-house made mozzarella, olive oil, and they'll have their own in-house made tomatoes, preferably with San Marzano tomatoes. Yeah, I get that much into it. I know I'm a freak, but that's how you do that kind of pizza if you want to honor the tradition. Now, that's not to say other ways aren't as good, but when it's done right this way, it should always be good. It should be reliable and fresh. And one of the ways you can tell is it should have some basil on it. I mean, these really do need basil. I don't normally eat basil in my life, but on a pizza like this, if it doesn't have basil on it, it's too bland. The basil gives it that little extra something, just makes it all work. I can't explain it, but it's well, something you can decide for yourself. But boy, oh boy, they sure did nail it back in the day when they created this pizza for good old Queen Margherita there in Naples. And I don't know, this chef hit on something that's just simple. It's not elevated, it's just fresh. And I'm hoping that's what I'm going to get here, even though it's frozen. So let me go pop this one in the oven. And you can see we've got a pre-cooked crust again here. You can see how well the crust has already been cooked before they even topped it. You'll notice with some pizzas, especially like the refrigerated pizzas that aren't frozen, the take and bake pizzas, they'll tell you how important it is to thoroughly cook them before you eat them because of the crust not being cooked. So that's a health concern, you know, making sure the temperature reaches 165 degrees. You don't need to worry about that necessarily with most frozen pizzas where the crust is pre-cooked like this. So let me go throw it in the oven, and then we'll be back here in just a moment and see what it looks and tastes like. Stand by. Now, if you'll notice, when it comes out of the oven, it pretty much looks identical to when it was frozen, except the cheese gets a little bubbly, the crust gets a little more brown. But it's not one of these transformer pizzas that rises when you bakes it or turns into a Volkswagen. I don't know what they do, but anyway, this is a good sign. We're off to a good start. One thing that's got me concerned right out of the gate is that the amount of Parmesan on here, in my opinion, Parmesan a little bit goes a long way. If they put too much on, Parmesan can be overpowering. But a little sprinkle of Parmesan on the pizza, it's all good. But it just looks like it's a lot more than a sprinkle, but we'll find out here in a minute. Everything looks really, really good on this pizza. There's our crust, again, cooked directly on the oven rack. And this is still really, really too hot to eat. And it can be traditional to throw a basil leaf in the middle of the pizza, but you couldn't put too much basil on for me. I wish there was more basil. Now, basil's easy to get. You can certainly add some to your own pizza to your liking. It looks like there was a few leaves of basil that were all sort of collected in the middle. I don't know if they shifted there or if that's how they were placed. That means you're not going to get basil in every bite. But again, that's an easily correctable problem. And some restaurants, as I mentioned, will place the basil more like a cosmetic thing than a flavor enhancer. And so for me, if I go to one of those restaurants, I'll say, can I have extra basil? If I know that's what they do, because I really like it. But I don't generally want basil on any other kind of pizza. To me, that margherita pizza with basil is just right. But adding the basil to, say, any other kind of pizza, it doesn't do it for me. It almost feels sacrilegious. But with that, how much did we pay for this? I'll look it up and I'll put the price right over my left shoulder here. And that's again at Trader Joe's. I think we can give this a shot. This is the least cheesy, mostly tomato sauce, but if it's a good tomato sauce, it should stand on its own. But notice the textural difference with the cheese when it's a solid ball of mozzarella cut into slices versus the cheap shredded stuff. But does it actually taste fresh and good? Is the tomato sauce good? Is there too much Parmesan? The crust is a little bit, yeah, it needs support, but it is well cooked. The crust needs to be firmer. It's a little chewy. At this point, I'm just getting tomato sauce in bread. It's a bit much on the tomato sauce. Less is more. Unless you've got other toppings on there. That's a bit much. The crust actually gets crunchier, crispier as you get to the edge. If that whole crust was like that, this would be a 10. It's so close. It's so close. Let me try this piece right over here. And look at the way the cheese, it has that cheese pull on it that you're just typically not going to get with a shredded cheese, at least not a shredded mozzarella, unless you're using just a lot of it. And yeah, you can have too much cheese. I know that some people say, what? There's no such thing. Oh yes, there's such a thing as too much cheese. So balance in all things. So we've got some basil here in this bite with some cheese, tomato sauce, the crust. This should be the complete bite, you know, to give us all the flavors working together. Okay. Oh, is that good? It's really good. But the crust is too chewy and there's too much sauce. Way too much sauce. The sauce is good, but too much of a good thing. It overpowers. So if Trader Joe's fixed this crust so that it would come out a bit crispier from the oven, following their cooking directions, and a little bit more basil, maybe, you know, a little bit on every, maybe not every bite, but at least on every piece, you know, put it on there like it's clock numbers or something, get some even distribution, because the basil, oh my gosh, what a difference it makes with that fresh mozz. So, so good. This pizza's a 9 out of a 10. 9 out of 10, which, you know, with Trader Joe's, look, this could go either way. You never know. We'll put the score right over there. 9 out of 10. It's definitely good. It is not the best I've had. And then depending on what we paid for it, You know, it is a very light meal. So this isn't, these pizzas are really designed to be for one person. In Italy, when you order a pizza, it's really like a hamburger. It's yours. You're not supposed to share it. And in that tradition, these pizzas are sort of single serving intended. Even though you can get 6 or 8 slices out of it, they're so thin and lightly topped that they're not very filling, and it's easy for an average person, male or female, to just eat the whole thing. All right, that's going to wrap it up on this one, and we'll catch you on the next frozen pizza review coming up next. See you then. Bye for now.